It is April 29th, and we just received an email from our landlord letting us know that we have to move out by June 30th. Here we go, another round of flat hunting. We ended up seeing over 20 places, and we put an offer on 5 and got rejected from all 5. And then on top of that, we also reached out to 30 places that just never got back to us, so that's fine. So you can understand why this might have not been a very exciting task for us, but nevertheless we persevered, and the first flat we saw was near the train station in Stratham Hill. And it was in a complex where each flat was a garden level flat, so they all had their own separate gardens, which you'll see in a bit. In London, you're almost always viewing flats that people are still currently living in, so it's kind of hard to look past all of their stuff, but you just kind of have to focus on the bones of the flat. And the thing I didn't like about this flat was that it was actually unfurnished, which is why we didn't end up going with it, because it was $2,500 a month and unfurnished. So with buying furniture and everything, it would have been out of our price range. But it had a really nice garden and living room, and then also the bedrooms were pretty good. The one we're about to see was quite small. This is a double bed in there, and there was absolutely no room to walk around. But the other 2 rooms were quite spacious. This is the medium room, and then the larger room had a built-in wardrobe, which was really nice. However, a very big red flag for me was how moldy the bathroom was, and the letting agent said that the landlord was going to seal it and paint over it and basically fix it. But that's the kind of thing that I feel like they can easily cover up and not fix properly, so I was a little worried about that and worried about the mold coming back. So ultimately we did not go with this flat. The next flat we viewed was in Tooting, and it was a 2-story, I believe they call it a mansionette, basically just like a house that's attached to another house. And it was really nice. I really liked this reception room. This was definitely my favorite room. I could really picture it being nice and cozy. Then as I walked back into the kitchen, it got a little bit darker back there. There just weren't as many windows. The kitchen was nice and big, but the tiling in there was really not my style. Very vibrant. And then there was a garden, but it was completely overgrown. Also, the fridge was not a full-sized fridge, and the appliances looked a little bit older than the ones that I've seen in other flats. And then you had to go up these stairs to get to the bedrooms and the main bathroom. This first bedroom was really nice and big, and I really liked it a lot. It was very bright. I love this window, as well as the fireplace. And then the second bedroom was across the hall. I found that the hallways upstairs were really kind of narrow, and there was like a bunch of different levels, but that's not a deal breaker. It was just something that I noticed about the flat. And this room looked out onto the garden. I'm having a hard time remembering the exact layout of this flat, but also upstairs was this half bathroom and then the smallest bedroom. This room just had a single bed, but I think if you didn't have the desk in there, it would be okay with a double bed. And then back out into this little narrow corridor, and then there was a full-size bathroom as well with a shower and a bath, which is kind of nice. At this point, we liked the flat that we saw before this better, so we decided not to go with this flat. The next flat was near Tooting Broadway, which is a very convenient location. However, it was also so busy, but the flat was super, super nice. The bedrooms were really, really spacious and bright, and everything about this flat was very nice. However, I think the location is what really sealed the deal with us not going with this flat, because the streets were just really, really busy. Like, you couldn't walk down them without having to dodge people. And I know it's London, but I prefer living in more of a quiet residential area than somewhere so close to a main station. Also, at this point in the flat hunting, we had already viewed a flat that we decided to put an offer on, and it's not in this video because we have moved into it and you'll see it in upcoming vlogs, but that is why this flat hunting video is so much shorter than the last one. We found something, it was the second flat that we viewed, and we're really happy with it, so stay tuned. Going from getting rejected from every single flat that we put an offer on 2 years ago to getting the first and only flat that we put an offer on this year was shocking, to say the least. So I just want to talk through a few of the things that I think made a big difference this time around, and then also a few things that I think you should just know in general. And a few of the things were out of our control. Last time we were full-time students, so we had no income, and this time we had jobs, which I think is like a really big factor in the fact that this went much more smoothly. But before we were offering 6 months upfront excuse you. So yeah, we were offering 6 months upfront in rent in addition to the deposit, and so we were hoping that would kind of counteract it. I think it did in the end, but the fact that we had income this time really helped. Also, the fact that we had renting history in the UK before. We were staying in a student accommodation, which doesn't technically count as like having a landlord and that kind of stuff, living on your own. So this time we had previously had a landlord and we had a reference. Also, the three of us had lived together before, which I think was a big selling factor of us. So if you are in a situation where you're living with people and you're moving together, make sure that the landlord knows that when you put your offer on, because I think that they like knowing that you have a history of being able to live together. There's not going to be any sort of like, why is the word coming to my head, skirmishes? Is this 1800? Our landlord had previously had tenants that didn't know each other. They all moved in separately and it did not go well. So I think having kind of a stable situation is helpful for the landlord to know that you will be good tenants. Another thing that was a big difference is the fact that we knew where we wanted to live in London. Before, we had literally no idea where we wanted to live, other than the fact that we didn't want to live in Greenwich anymore because there was nowhere we could afford. But other than that, we were like, London is our oyster. So we were wasting so much time going to viewings all over London, literally like hours apart from each other. And this time we were like, okay, we're keeping it tight. We only went to viewings that we could get to like relatively close because we wanted to stay in the same area. So it was much more helpful to be able to kind of narrow that down and also not be wasting time looking at places literally all over London because there's tons. Being really nice and like getting on well with your letting agent is actually the most helpful thing I can suggest, because they are the people that fight for you with the landlord. Just be nice to them, ask them how their day is, like just little stuff that makes you seem like you're a good, decent person. And I think that goes a long way, because those people are the people that will go to bat for you when there's like a decision between two tenants. Now, when it comes to actually searching for flats, we have always used Rightmove and it has been really good for us. I like sticking with one app or website or whatever, because then you kind of become familiar with the database and you know like what is coming new to the market and what you've seen before and all those kinds of things. Also, you can set like really tight parameters that I think is good. That way you're not wasting your time looking at places that you know are not going to work for you. I think that's all the tips I have for you. I really wish that there was a way for me to be like, this is how you get flat, 1, 2, 3, boom, 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 you're done. But in reality, I don't think that's how it works. I think it's kind of very subjective experiences. So if you have been flat hunting in London and you have some tips that I didn't mention, please feel free to put them in the comments and help everybody out. Yeah, if you're flat hunting, best of luck to you. And yeah, I have a moving vlog coming soon, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Subscribe, like, all the things. Especially like if you found this helpful, because it does help the algorithm. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna let you go. Bye!